The time you spend not living your actual life is time you don't get back. Hey, I'm going to say something that sounds simple, but it took me a long time to actually live by. Other people's opinions of your life are none of your business. Not your family's, not your friends, not any strangers on the internet, not the person who has an opinion about what you're building, what you're creating, and what you're becoming. None of it is any of your business. And the moment I really, truly stopped making it my business, everything changed. So this is real and unfiltered. Here's what living for other people's approval was actually costing me. It was costing me time every moment I spent wondering what somebody else thought, editing myself before I showed up, making myself smaller so someone else felt more comfortable. That's time I wasn't spending building the thing I was actually here to build. It was costing me energy. The mental load of managing how you're perceived is exhausting. It's a full-time job that pays nothing and takes everything away from you. And most of all, it was costing me the life I actually wanted, because you cannot fully build something that's yours while you're performing for an audience that didn't ask to be there. I spent years, good years, capable years, diluting myself, hesitating, starting and stopping, asking myself what people would think before I asked myself what I actually wanted. I'm done with that, and you should be too. Here's the identity shift that actually changed everything, changed things for me. I stopped asking, what will people think of this? And I started asking, who am I choosing to be? Because other people's opinions are information about them. They are not instructions for you. When somebody has a reaction to you showing up fully, to you creating, to you being visible, to you building something real, that reaction belongs to them. It tells you something about their fears, their limitations, their business that they have. It tells you nothing about whether you should keep going or not. You are not put here to manage other people's comfort at the expense of your own. Life is genuinely too short. I know that sounds like something people say, but I lived a year and a half of my life in a kind of suspended state after a layoff, before a direction. And what I learned in that silence is that the clock is real. The time you spend not living your actual life is time you don't get back. I chose to create content even when I didn't know if anyone would watch. I chose to build the OJ studio even when it didn't look impressive from the outside. I chose to show up as the full version of myself, not the managed, edited, people-pleasing version, and let that be enough. And it was enough. It was more than enough. I'm telling you this because I want you to feel permission. Permission to start the channel, permission to start the business, to post the video you've been sitting on, to launch the thing you keep saving you'll do when the time is right, or when you feel ready, or when you've thought about it a little more. The time is now. The readiness comes from starting. The thinking has gone on long enough for you to start. Other people's opinions will exist regardless of whether you act. The difference is, if you act, at least you'll have something to show for the time you spent here. I'm back, I'm building, and I genuinely don't give a fuck about anything that isn't aligned with who I'm becoming and who I'm serving. If that version of yourself is something you want, Radiance Revival is where we build it together. The link is in the description. But one question before we go: what would you do right now today if you genuinely stopped giving a fuck what anybody thought? Tell me in the comments down below. I read it because I think of you already, because I think you already know the answer. I'll see you in the next video. And the motivation to actually start this video was a text message from my mother. I don't know the specific word or title I want to put on the relationship that I have with my mother, is that I love her. I love her from a distance. I allow what she does. And she sent me a text message today that actually sparked this conversation, and I'm gonna read it to you. She said, "I was just messing around with Facebook and Instagram and listened to some of your stuff, and girl, I really need to understand way more about controlling my emotions, etc. I should listen more, but it's hard to not want to be right or have the last word or make undoubtedly I got my opinion across." That text message message right there was probably everything for me, because when I started this journey and being on social media and being online, I always thought that nobody gave a shit about what I had to say, but it was because of my childhood. Some of her, I can't point the blame at her, because if I point the blame at for the bad, I also have to blame her for the good. The good is all of this and who I became out of pretty much nothing. So as I sit here and as I record this video, I just want you to know that just stop giving a fuck about what other people think. It's not serious. And the more and more you'll realize is that people actually admire you. I know a lot of people admire me. All right, that's all I got. I'll see you in my next video.